What's up, everybody? Jordan Stewart here from Vover. Thanks so much for tapping into the Vover original show. Just a reminder that if you want to drop your opinions about the episode or respond to the host and guests with your voice, go and download the Vover app wherever you get your apps. Vover, voice over everything. Enjoyed the show.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this Monday edition of the Vover Sports Card Show. I am your host, Frank Hrelja. Today, I want to give you a football wide receiver play that I think is wildly underrated because the player was injured last season. And once we're done with that, I want to talk about Giannis' cards because ever since the Bucks won Game 3, we've seen his cards on the rise. So today, I want to talk about Michael Thomas cards because if we look at the traditional trajectory of a player's cards when they get injured, it's the player is actively competing in games, everybody wants to collect their cards, watching them on TV, but then the player gets injured and everybody dumps their cards and we see massive decreases in price. But then once the player gets back, his cards slowly rebound close to where they were. If we look at guys like Saquon, if we look at guys like Joe Burrow, this tends to be the case, that their cards are performing well, even though they're coming off of serious injuries last season. But if we look at Michael Thomas, nobody wants to touch his cards right now. And I think that's a mistake. If we look at his Silver Prism rookie card PSA 10, heading into last season, it was $800. I don't think this should be $800. But at the same time, I do think this puts into perspective how demanded Michael Thomas was last year. In terms of wide receivers, he was viewed as the best or second best in the league. Now when we're looking at wide receiver leaderboards, he's viewed as the 9th or the 10th because he was injured virtually all of last season. In 7 games, he only had 40 receptions, no touchdowns, so it was definitely a disappointing season. But please do not forget that in 2019 and 2018, he was first team All-Pro. He was viewed as one of the best couple wide receivers of football, and a lot of people right now will be saying, yeah, he might be coming back from injury, he might be healthy, he might only be 28 years old, but Drew Brees is no longer the quarterback. But in the 3 games last year where Taysom Hill started, not Drew Brees, Michael Thomas had 26 receptions for 297 yards and was frequently targeted. I know some people are nervous that since Drew Brees isn't there and obviously Michael Thomas, people like to call him slant boy and that he can't go deep, I still think he could be one of the top few wide receivers in the league, even if he doesn't have one of the all-time greats behind him at quarterback in Drew Brees. If Taysom Hill is the quarterback for the Saints, I do think that he's going to probably receive more targets, but at the exact same time, if Jameis Winston is the quarterback, I do think we're going to see Michael Thomas potentially get some more big plays, which would be really fun for card collectors. I think Michael Thomas being viewed as a borderline top 10 wide receiver is absolutely criminal. If you look at his NTRPA number to 25 at a PSA 10, it's selling for $1,000. His Optic Red rookie card number to 99 at a PSA 10 is selling for $140. His Silver Prism 10 selling for $180. Given that's the base card and that you could buy numbered parallels from Select and Optic for cheaper, just shows how inefficient his card market is right now and how nobody wants to touch it. I think when football comes around, and we're starting to see it with tons of players, especially quarterbacks and stud running backs, we're seeing card markets trend up for these guys. I think Michael Thomas, when the season comes along, I think the Saints are going to surprise people. They're going to be more productive than people think. Sean Payton is one of the best view coaches in the league. The Saints always have a really good infrastructure. Michael Thomas will be a top 5 wide receiver in the league through the first couple of weeks, and people are going to be jumping on his cards again. When a player isn't demanded and nobody's trying to collect his sports cards, it is an amazing time to be grabbing parallels and rare cards for not that much cheaper than the base cards in set. Silver Prism rookie card PSA 10 is like for $180. You can be buying numbered cards, PSA 10 numbered cards from big releases for potentially less money. Because when a Silver Prism PSA 10 goes up for sale, everybody keeps a watch on it and they won't let it go too low. They won't let that card be $120, $130 just because of the premium on a PSA 10, just because it's viewed as a silver, and Michael Thomas is still a big name. But if you look at some more rare cards, people are not doing the research on it right now. People aren't taking the time, and it's creating opportunities for people. We see this all the time, people overreacting to injuries. We see it in baseball, Vlad Guerrero and Ohtani, people overreacted to their injuries. They've come back this season as superstar players, and their card markets have adjusted wildly. I would be looking at Michael Thomas right now as a great budget football play. You don't need to throw a ton of money at him. You could buy a really cool card for $100 to $200, but I do think when the football season comes around, and even if you wait a couple weeks into the season, I think that there's value. In the 2018 and 2019 season, he was first team All-Pro. That means he's one of the top 2 wide receivers of football. In his 27-year-old season, he was injured. He's now 28. Michael Thomas has years ahead of him still to be dominant, and I think people are going to be very frustrated that they forgot about him. So after talking about Michael Thomas and a budget football play I like right now, let's talk about the NBA Finals because Game 6 is tomorrow, and it could be the biggest game of Giannis' career. I've been saying this over the last few games, but every game he gets closer to a championship is more and more valuable, and Giannis is showing up. Let's not forget, a couple weeks ago, we thought Giannis' season was over, and I talked about this on the show that everyone was expecting the Suns to win the championship. We first thought Giannis was done for the season. Then we found out that he might make it halfway through the series and give it a try. In Game 1, he only had 20 points, and he was kind of feeling the game out and trying to see where his body was at. But in Game 2 and Game 3, Giannis had over 40 points and 10 rebounds. In Game 4, he had 26, and in Game 5, he had 32. But the biggest fact is that the Bucks have now won 3 straight games. The Suns were up 2-0 in the series, and even though Giannis played great in Game 2, it was not enough to get it done. Nunn, Middleton, and the rest of the team didn't show up. But over these last 3 games, the Bucks have won, and it's come to the point now that the entire momentum and narrative have shifted. Now everybody is on the side that believes that the Bucks are going to win the championship. Everybody is now ready to crown Giannis as the best player in the world. Let's not forget, over the last few seasons, Giannis has come up short in the postseason every single year. Even though he won back-to-back MVPs, the reason why Giannis's car market crashed so much after the summer was because Giannis's expectations were shifted wildly. Everybody thought that Giannis was going to win the championship in the bubble, even though he choked in the postseason before that against the Raptors. And now we get to this season, everybody expected the same thing to happen. In the second round, people thought that they were going to lose to the Nets. They then were in a weirdly close series with the Hawks. And now they find themselves in the finals down 0-2, and everybody thinks it's a wrap. But this is really the first time in the postseason ever for Giannis, where Giannis is the clear best player on the floor, and he is demanding the ball and taking over in the biggest moments. In Game 4, he had the great block on Ayton. In Game 5, he had the and one to ice the game. Absolutely incredible, iconic plays we're seeing from Giannis. We're seeing the highest level of production. And at the age of 26 right now, I know a lot of people are getting nervous that Giannis has choked in the postseason and that he's now in the Bucks long term, so he can't win tons of championships, and that everybody wishes that he was playing on the Mavericks with Luka. Giannis is about to be 26 years old with 2 MVPs and being an NBA champion. And I talked about on the show last week, there's only 11 players currently in NBA history that have done that. Giannis wins the championship this year and wins the Finals MVP. Giannis is on the path to being one of the best basketball players of all time. We just saw his Green Prism rookie card PSA 10 sell for $15,000 a couple days ago, which is the all-time high for the card. His Select Base rookie card PSA 10 was $800 just a week or 2 ago. It's now selling for $1,100. Base Prism rookie card PSA 10 was down to $1,400. Now it's trending closer to $2,000. Giannis's cards are on the rise, and if he could win tomorrow night and cement his first championship, it is going to add so much to his legacy, and it makes him collectible long-term because it puts him back on the path of being one of the best basketball players in the history of the game. I know people like to talk badly about Giannis because he might not have the smoothest outside game and he might not look the most coordinated. He doesn't dribble like Steph Curry with the ball or doesn't move like Kevin Durant. But Giannis, he's 26 years old, 2 MVPs. Winning multiple MVPs is far from normal. Winning a Finals MVP is far from normal. And 40-point Finals games is far from normal. Giannis is doing all of this. I don't care that he doesn't have the most refined basketball game out there. Giannis is dominating. If he keeps playing like this, he's going to be viewed as the best player in the world for years to come. So I appreciate you listening to this Monday edition of the Vover Sports Card Show. I am your host, Hrelja, and I'll be back again on Wednesday.